This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, the lyrics, how it was made, and everything in between. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. Share all the posts with all your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. And that's all I have for the boring intro. So what are we doing today, Jeff? Go.
We're doing Bad Brains' Bad Brains'.
Bad Brains' Bad Brains' from 1982. This, some say, iconic DC hardcore band. And 1982, this album came out. Clocks in at 36 minutes. Let's get into our... Well, actually, we could do whatever. We can... We're not in a season, right? We're not in a season.
We still do our origin story, right?
That's true. Yeah, we still do the origin story. So yeah, let's get into the origin story. Our origin stories with the Bad Brains.
I mean, we can always just do whatever we want to do.
That's true. It's our pod. We can do whatever.
Our pod. We do whatever we want to do. Do what you want to do. But it's fun to start with the origin story. It's fun to start from the beginning, and then we can do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
So I'll be brief because that's my origin story with Bad Brains. Is I don't have one. Don't really have one. I never listened to any kind of hardcore punk until we started hanging out. Really, that was probably like the first time I listened to more hardcore punk, and then more often too outside of high school when we graduated. Listened to more of it. But yeah, I don't really have. Like, I knew they existed. I know people love them.
Yeah,
because like Sublime loved fucking Bad Brains. Sublime covered a lot of their songs, and a lot of their songs they covered live. So I knew of them, like I knew of the Descendants. Just never listened to them because, like, younger me, a little too aggressive, a little too crazy.
Yeah, you were a pop punk man, hip
hopper, a little too
indie
aggressive.
Kid. Yeah,
little too angsty, a
little too angsty. Yeah, I get it. So my origin story, I don't remember the first time I heard it. Had to have been middle school, maybe I don't know. I hung out with like some of the gutter punk kids like freshman year, and I think that might have been when I first heard them. I heard a lot of fucking music for the first time through them, but I always just thought it was cool. It was good stuff. Tower Records, a couple of the guys there listened to Bad Brains quite a bit, so heard it a lot there, and I've always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed this record. I'd actually, up until this week, I had never heard any other Bad Brains record outside of the self-titled. Never heard anything else. I've always really liked what I heard, and I have it on vinyl. I've a repress of this record on vinyl because it is a good record. But it's kind of like when you get through it, do I really want to listen to more Bad Brains? I'd rather go listen to, I think there are other bands that I prefer, like Gorilla Biscuits, things like that. I just prefer that over Bad Brains. There's nothing against Bad Brains, but I just don't think the reggae stuff they do is great. It's good, and it's cool how they fuse it in some cases. But that's my origin story. It's just kind of all over the place, and it wasn't really a band I actively sought after. So good stuff. So that's my origin story.
Okay.
Which is also my first impression of the record too. So.
Yeah, like my first impressions, because I bought this on the vinyls when we first started collecting at Nichols, and then eventually got rid of it. My massive purge I did like not too long ago. I was like, it's always available. It's like $25 for the repress, whatever. It's not original. I don't care. But like realistically, for real, if you took the reggae songs out of this, I would like this less because it's like, dude, every fucking one of these songs are the same.
They are.
And writing notes for this was like drum part cool, guitar part cool, bass sounds cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
my notes are
sounds
so
the same.
Yeah, my notes are so thin.
And then like reading the lyrics, I was like, damn. Like, not that lyrics have to be so deep and whatever, but if there's no melody to your song, your lyrics probably should be pretty cool. Like Black Flag had cool lyrics and great melodies.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you have to understand that these guys are creating a genre in real time.
Yeah,
they are doing something. It's almost like there's a whole thing too on Instagram. It shows me, love Instagram. It shows me like people that show you how to fix something as they learn how to fix it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So like imagine you're showing me how to fix something, but you're fixing it for the first time, and so we're doing it together.
Okay.
But you're pretending like you know how to do it. That's what this record is. It's like they are showing us what hardcore punk should sound like as you're inventing hardcore punk.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're inventing. I think they took hardcore punk to the next level with their stage performance, their craziness on and off the stage. I mean, HR is well known from the very beginning as being like a very kind of polarizing person and always fighting people, going to jail, all kinds of shit. So I think they elevated the hardcore genre, but I don't think they're not the originators of it.
They're not the
They
originators, but
they're early on. I mean, this record
as
came out in
far as like this type of
1982.
hardcore punk, Minor Threat was never this hard.
No, they weren't. No, yeah, you're right.
So
You're
like
true.
this is kind of like this is pretty much like the original hardcore punkers in DC.
In DC, yeah, but like Black Flag. I mean, this record came out in '82. They had been a band since I think '79 when they put out their first song, which I think was what was it? Pay to Come. I think that was the first, or no, that was the first single off this record, something like that.
The Attitude, I think, was
Got fucking attitude. But you know, Black Flag were putting out pretty fucking heavy hardcore in the late '70s too, pre Rollins.
Well, but they didn't drop an album until like '84.
Yeah, true. But they were doing a lot of shit between then, playing shows and everything.
But like Black Flag was never this aggressive.
Damage
dude. Like,
came out. Damage came out in '82 as well, I believe. Maybe
Black
81.
Flag is not this aggressive. Bad Brains is fucking aggressive.
They are, yeah, yeah.
This is wild stuff. Like this is deliberately made to sound like shit. Like this is what you know what I mean. Like the OC hardcore punk scene is like Bad Brains. Like that's what it is. Black Flag was more like melodic based. There was more.
There was more
like
melody.
Rollins trying to write melodies and everyone's trying to like groove with each other.
Go to
This just sounds like shit.
Nothing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great melodies. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's just this is just Bad Brains. This Bad Brains record is just they go fucking nuts. I mean, in tempo, in the screaming, the aggressiveness of the riffs. I mean, it is a pretty heavy thing. And also, like, I mean, I'm not an expert on hardcore music or anything like that. I didn't grow up in this early of a hardcore scene, but you know, from what I was reading, like they kind of started the breakdowns, like the proper breakdowns that we began to hear in the mid '80s up until now, with like more modern bands like what's the big one? Knock Loose right now. It's fucking huge right now. I don't really care for Knock Loose. They're cool, but I mean, I've heard that shit 1,000 times before. But I mean, you know, I think that kind of breakdown style, that kind of thing, to the best of my knowledge, kind of started with Bad Brains and has transcended over many decades and genres, subgenres, and things like that, which is really cool because there are some really cool breaks here. Like the way that I think the rhythm section in this band is fantastic. It's fucking great. And they're extremely tight for a band that's only been around for a couple years, and they put out such a spastic record. They're so incredibly tight. Like I would compare some of these songs to like early Dead Kennedy stuff, like some of the really crazy shit Dead Kennedys have done, but way fucking tighter than that, than what they do. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good record. It's a solid record. Good shit here. I don't really. I mean, I think all the songs are good. I think they're all bangers. So I have them all ranked, but honestly, you could swap out quite a few of these for other ones. They're all pretty damn similar, and you're really just kind of.
It is tough.
It was tough. Yeah, it really was tough. I mean,
this just comes from like me not listening to a ton of, and even like hardcore scene. Ugh, like god damn, these bands sound the fucking same. But what gives Bad Brains like an edge on this one, even versus like Black Flag, which Black Flag is, dude, they were just never this aggressive.
They also weren't this tight. They were not this tight. I mean, listen to.
I don't know.
Man. Dude, listen to Rise Above, the fucking opening song off of Damaged. I mean, that's
Bill Stevenson is a better drummer than he's better at his instrument than anybody in Bad Brains is at their instrument.
Maybe technically speaking, but when it comes to timing and everything, I was really shocked at how tight. Like I said, once again, how tight this band was. Like, at no point on this record did it feel like it was going to fall apart. But you listen to Damage, you listen to any Black Flag record. Did I say that? Never mind.
He said frag like a grenade.
Okay, but yeah, you listen to any Black Flag record, and yeah, it always sounds like it's like the drummer can't keep up. It's gonna fucking fall apart.
First of all, Bill can keep up. Okay, He can do
I
anything.
I get it, but I'm talking about the other members have to play along too. It's not just the drummer. Like if the rhythm section can't keep up, I mean that's I remember the other part of the rhythm section can't keep up. You're
And I
you're
also
gonna fall
think too,
apart.
like Bad Brains are guys that again are like inventing a genre as it's happening, but they also just want to play reggae. They want to play
Yeah,
stuff that is just jammy, that is just groovy. So they're already locked in. They're just doing it faster and faster and faster. And then reading some things where they had said that the opening bands that they would play with were doing songs faster because Bad Brains were doing them faster.
yeah.
And so then Bad Brains, after coming on after the opening band, who just saw them do it faster, were like, fuck,
We
we
gotta
should
play
do our
faster.
songs faster now. And now they do their songs faster. And so it just kept getting faster and faster and
Yeah,
faster, but like a gradual thing. Where I think like Black Flag was more of like, because the amount of like song or singer changes they had up until Rollins.
yeah,
And so now it's like Black Flag. They are thrown into this. Hey, here's our first record, Damage, and we have a new singer, Sandy Rollins, and let's just go.
yeah.
And like
I
that was
get it.
kind of it. Whereas like Bad Brains had been like slowly progressing to be faster and faster. Now I don't think Bad Brains is anything to write home about as far as musicianship goes. I think they are
Agreed.
very tight together. I think they play really well. I think they're locked in, but they're not.
But
You know
on
what I
yeah
mean?
on a technical level, I
It's
don't think they're
noise.
yeah on a technical level they're not anything that great. Um, but yeah, as a cohesive unit, I mean, it's fucking incredible. They're at that speed and like the stopping and going and everything. The fills are incredibly tight, but also going back to like musicianship. So prior to them being called Bad Brains, they were called Mind Power. They were when they were Mind Power, they were more of like this, like very funk style, more funk style than anything else. They were taking their inspiration from Funkadelic, Parliament Funkadelic, Sly and the Family Stone, like things like that. Early mid 70s funk and soul R&B and kind of stuff. So like these guys, they knew how to play their instruments. They weren't schmucks like Greg Ginn and from Black Flag who just barely knew how to play guitar. Still barely knows how to play the guitar, but he just fucking just goes off and does whatever the fuck he wants. These guys are way more meticulous to their playing and style than most hardcore bands were because of who they grew up on, who they were trying to aspire to be in the very beginning before they discovered like Sex Pistols, Ramones, the Damned, and things like that. Um, so I mean, that's another reason why I think Bad Brains just have that advantage over other bands because they were a different kind of band prior to this. They didn't just start out as a hardcore or as a punk band like most punk bands of this time did. So that's
I mean,
my
it is
my
it
two
is
cents.
it is it is interesting to note, right, that like Bad Brains started their group. They started playing music around the same time as like the big ones, as like the
Yeah,
Sex Pistols and the Ramones, and how the music like formed into the Ramones versus how the music formed into Bad Brains is fucking wild.
yeah.
And so, again, another knock at the Ramones because they're just a dumb band. I don't care and I hate them. I don't hate them, but they're
I
just
mean,
the
I get
Ramones,
I get their
the
influence,
Beatles
but
of pop, the Beatles of punk
yeah,
music.
yeah, definitely.
But
I mean, they're
it's like,
easily
damn, dude,
accessible.
like Bad Brains formed like a year after the Ramones did, and like that's what we got. And
Yeah,
I mean, even though I don't get it, I don't. It's not my cup of tea. I'll take Bad Brains as Bad Brains over any of the Ramones records any
I
day of the
agree.
week.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
just more interesting. I think it's more interesting. I think it's more unique, and I love the idea of these guys discovering a genre, pushing the boundaries in real time.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Did you read that? Did you read or hear that story of when they like before this record? It was before this record came out. They only had a few songs, but they had made such a name for themselves in DC and especially New York because they had to play a lot of their shows in New York because they were literally banned from playing a lot of clubs in DC. So they got so their reputation got they were so popular that the Damned, who are British, they wanted to bring them over to England to have them tour with them, and so they sold all of their gear except for their guitars, and then they sold all of their gear except for their guitars, and bought all 4 plane tickets to England. They flew over there with their guitars. They got to England, and then they were denied entry because they were dressed like with spray paint on their suits and everything like that. And then the guys from the Dam were there, and they're like, "Here's cash. They have money. and they also didn't get a working visa, so they only went on their passports, not a
Gotta
working
get a
visa.
visa.
So the dam were like, here's cash. These guys have money. They're touring. It's good. And then they're like, probably they denied them also because they're all 4 black guys. I
Of
mean,
course,
the
they're 4 black
racism,
guys. Yeah,
racism was
absolutely.
rampant. So then they denied them, made them fly back to the United States. They get back to New York. Come to find out, their guitars never were shipped to England. They were stolen at JFK Airport in New York. So they got back to New York, lost all of their money, lost all of their equipment, and they had to rebuild literally from scratch as a band. So they had to borrow gear. They had to sell like weed on like, joints in the park, like just single joints in the park to people just to recoup their loss. And they said it
Gotta
took
do
like,
what you gotta do,
took
man.
like 6 months to get like to buy new gear and start properly gigging again. But damn, dude, that's that perseverance, that resilience.
Yeah.
Fucking love that shit. I love hearing that. I mean, it's terrible what happened to them, but after the fact, they don't let it break them to the point where they just quit. I
And
love
that comes with like DC loved Bad Brains, like that underground scene. Dude, they were gods. They were gods, and I don't know. I don't live in DC. I've never been in DC. I've never probably go to DC. But the way I read and see people talk about Bad Brains versus like Minor Threat, anything Ian MacKaye has done, like Bad Brains is God, right?
Yeah.
Like Ian MacKaye's fine, is cute. Like people like Minor Threat, people like
Fugazi
Fugazi.
that comes second to Bad Brains always.
But Bad Brains is God, man. Like they fucking died for Bad Brains over there. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean,
like in a way I've never seen before.
I mean, in all honesty, the Minor Threat's fine. They're cool, but I mean, they have nothing on Bad Brains. Like musically, I mean, it's nothing compared to Bad Brains. So
I'll take Fugazi over Bad Brains.
I would too.
Week.
Yeah, I would take Fugazi over Bad Brains.
I agree,
Minor Threat.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, they came out at the same time. I mean, Minor Threat, it's fine, but it's like what is just the one EP, right? Step Out or something. What is it called?
Out of Step.
Out of Step.
I think it's technically one record and like 3 different EPs with shared songs and artwork. Or
I've just never really cared. On the stoop.
I don't know if it's Ian. It probably is. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a whiner, but I've never really been a big Minor Threat guy.
They're cool though. Like they're cool.
I think seeing and everything.
Cool songs.
But just I never In My Eyes is cool, but that's only because Rage covered it years later. It's cool, but I never really listened to Minor Threat. But
yeah, dude, people DC love their Bad Brainses.
They do. They really, really do. And also what I think is kind of cool about this, well, I guess it's interesting about this record, was that it was 1982. They put it out, but they only put it out on cassette, and so it was like around town, around people who had it. It was always called the yellow tape, and it wasn't pressed on vinyl until 1989. At least from what I saw, 1989 it was pressed in Germany, and then it was pressed for the first time in the UK and the US in 1990. Forgot what label it was on, but yeah, that's the first time it was ever pressed. Anything after a cassette tape, honestly, after that. So
that was a common thing for people to press overseas, because I mean, historically speaking, the Europeans are very nice when it comes to music. They are more receptive and accepting.
Yeah.
Whereas Americans, we know what we like, and if it's not that, then we don't give a fuck about it. Whereas the Europeans are kind of more open to listening to new shit. So that's why a lot of bands will tour Europe before they tour America.
True.
So that makes sense. And yeah, Discogs supports that, because there's no the OG of that is the 89 press, which I always hate too. It just feels
it doesn't feel
dirty.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
I feel like I'm cheating. I don't want to cheat.
Technically, I have like the OG Korn's Korn record, but it was like a pressing from 2012.
Yeah,
it wasn't pressed until 2012. So it's like, yeah, technically it's an OG, but it's not.
Same with like Sublime records.
Yeah.
You know, like they weren't pressed. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It feels dirty.
Speaking of Europeans be more receptive to music, Tammy and I were talking about David Hasselhoff, and we were talking about how, because I had met him on the Dodgeball movie set. She met him at Medieval Times once.
That's which Medieval Times?
The one in Buena Park, near your old place. Yeah, she was there, and I guess it was his daughter's birthday, so he took her to Medieval Times, and then like he I guess he paid Medieval Times to like shout her out or do something. I don't know, something happened. But Tammy ended up meeting him at Medieval Times. And then we were talking about that, and I was like, "Yeah, you didn't know he was did you know he was a singer?" She's like, she had no idea that he was a musician or a singer. I'm like, yeah, he was huge in Germany. Like he was at the Berlin Wall when they brought it down. Like he was so big in Germany. He was the biggest like musician in Germany for years in the 80s. And that's crazy because that music is terrible. See the light turn on behind me?
I did.
Yeah. Tammy's rummaging, making noise.
She vacuuming?
No, but she was slamming dishes around earlier. I don't know.
She's a vacuum.
I should. I don't. She's literally.
And there's Ruben right next to her.
She hasn't. she just said, "Shut the fuck up." She's been hanging out all day, not really doing anything, just chilling all day.
She get in the mood. You get excited.
She's bought a bunch of stuff like just for the house today, and then she waits until what is it, 8:30 at night, 8:00, 8:30 at night, to start putting stuff away.
Are you on the same time as us?
Yeah, for now. Yeah, until for like another month. Yeah. But anyway, whatever. Let's move on. This is quite the tangent.
Yeah,
but
quite the tangent.
anyway,
so back to the bad brains is
yes.
How many stinkers you have? I have lots.
Really? I mean, I have no stinkers, but like the last song intro, what is it, like 10 seconds of just noise? So it's just like there's dumb shit like that. The reggae stuff is like mid tier on this record on my banger list, but I mean they're all good songs. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, they are all good songs, and I know that if I spent more time with this, as in like 10 years, right? Like going out, like listening to it over and over, I would be able to pick apart these songs. My problem is that like if you played me a Bad Brain song, and then even if you just took out HR and said, "Oh, this is," and then insert any other like hardcore punk band here,
yeah,
like would I know? I don't think so.
Probably
I don't
not.
think I would.
Yeah, because I mean, on this record, you mentioned on the rankings episode, this record, they don't infuse reggae within the punk songs. Like it's either a reggae song or it's a hardcore song. So it's like you throw on a hardcore song and you take the lyrics out or the vocals out. It could be a Gorilla Biscuit song. I don't know. It could be a Scream song. It could be it could be a Minor Threat song if you don't know Minor Threat. You know, it could be anything. So I get what you're saying.
And I mean, I guess that's with like any genre of music, right? Except for like the best of the best.
Yeah.
Because if you played me like a Sum 41 song that wasn't Fat Lip, like would I really know it's Sum 41? I don't know. Maybe
you might think it's Newfound Glory. You might think it's Simple Plan or something like that. I get it. I get that.
But it's still good. It's still good. It's still fun. I do have some bangers. I just kind of like listed off my favorite ones on this album. Mm-hmm. My 1B is Band in DC.
That's my two. That's my two.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite track. I just think it's like this is like their anthem song. This is the anthem to all your friends. This is like their anthem song, right? This is because this happened. Like they were banned in DC. They were not allowed to play places because they were too fucking wild.
Yeah.
And I guess there was a documentary that you didn't tell me until today, so it's your fault.
I watched like the first 40 minutes of it, and I mean it was cool, but the way they set up the documentary, it was like it would started with like the beginning of the band, but then it would go to like modern day, which was like at the time it was like 2007 2008 tour that they were doing, so it would go back and forth. It's just like, dude, just give me the chronological, go from the very beginning, just let's go, but don't keep going back to modern day and shit like that, especially if there's no reason for it. Like it was fine.
I skimmed. It was fun. I skimmed. But yeah, I don't know. It's I have a lot of like really kind of like things to say about Bad Brains, but this record is really, really good.
Yeah.
But like Band in DC, it's just, again, I think it's amazing. I think it's really cool if you kind of just put yourself in the shoes of just like, dude, these guys are like, they are doing something in real time. And I keep saying real time, and I don't know if I've told this anecdote before, but the first time I really tried like heavy gummies, like weed gummies.
Oh.
At my neighbor's house.
Yeah. And you're not you're not a big like weed guy or drug guy at all.
Not at all. I stick to the alcohol. I know how it hits me. I know like my tolerance level. I know that, hey dude, if you take one more drink, we're gonna have that kind of night. Like, yeah, fuck it, we'll do it. Like I know where I'm at. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
With the weed stuff, like I just never, I don't know. So anyway, my neighbors, they buy some heavy stuff sometimes. So, but like, hey, but like
Hey, but
when I was like, there's no fucking way it's different than like drinking alcohol. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, it's totally different. Like, no way. So like, they gave me a bunch of gummies. Like, I'm gonna eat them all.
oh my god.
And they're like, okay, here we go. And so we're talking and talking, and we had some deep conversation. And then I realized, I was like, wait a second, I get it now. When you drink, it's like you forget things the next day. When you're doing like marijuana or pot or THC, whatever it
When you're
is,
doing marijuana,
when you're doing marijuanas, you forget in real time. It's like it goes from here
yeah, that's true.
to there, and
And
then in the
that's it.
trash.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah.
And so whenever I say like things like real time, it truly is like real time. And so Bad Brains doing this kind of music in real time, it's fucking real time. And again, like harkening back to like who invented hardcore punk, I don't know. But like Bad Brains did, like
Yeah, they were.
it's them,
They,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah. I would.
Dead Kennedys had an album out, like Fresh Fruit, dude. That is not hardcore punk, right?
Not
That's like
compared
an
to
East Bay.
this.
That's a totally different ball game, but that's early 80s, and they were around in the 70s. So that's one thing. Like Black Flag, yes, they were doing some hardcore stuff. It was aggressive, but it was more like punk. It was more like
Yeah.
melodic bass. Dude, this Bad Brains record is wild. It's disruptive.
Yeah, even like even the most aggressive Misfits weren't like Bad Brains. You know what I mean? It was Bad Brains was pretty fucking heavy. It was
And
pretty
Danzig would
fucking
never
intense.
allow Misfits to be this aggressive. There's no way.
He's a crooner. Danzig is a crooner. That's why.
Yeah.
Love him for it.
Sure.
But Misfits are a
We
better
do.
band anyway. Band.
Are they?
So Misfits? Get the fuck out of here. Of course they are. Of course
I've
they
heard
are.
better.
Yeah. So yeah, band in DC. I just think it's crazy. They had this reputation of just being not just themselves, but the crowd. Like everything about their shows were so out of control that they were banned from everywhere in DC. So they had to travel up north to New York, which is in hindsight,
CBGBs.
what is it, like a 2-hour drive? It's like driving here to San Diego or some shit like that. It's not even that far, but I mean. Whatever. I guess it was a different time. It was a different time.
And that's crazy too, right? Like we got banned in DC, so now we have to drive up and like play at like CBGBs and shit. And CBGBs is known to be like that's the club in the US, right? Like everybody wants to play CBGBs. Like the Ramones, right? They played there so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Bad Brains coming in. Oh, we're a punk band from DC. And people in New York are like, oh yeah, we've heard punk before. The Ramones been here. New York Dolls and Sex Pistols. We know what punk is.
Nope.
And like these 4 fucking like black dudes show up and play this? Like what?
Yeah.
That's wild.
You know what's cool too is like I feel like they didn't get hit with like a lot of racism. Maybe what I was reading wasn't really talking about it. Maybe they did, but from everything I read, they weren't. I mean, the punk scene was way more, which is weird because the punk scene is very gatekeepy and they're kind of dicks, but they were very accepting of the guys in Bad Brains, which is super fucking rad.
The punk scene doesn't care what you are as long as you're punk.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
You could be a fucking hamster as long as you're punk. They don't give a fuck.
That's true.
Do not give a shit. But it's interesting though because I did like some of the lyrics here. They don't mean nothing, but there was one. What song was it? I guess are we done with the band in DC?
Yeah. Band. Yeah.
Well, I have a couple more things here, quick. There's a breakdown here, right? The little chuggy breakdown.
Yeah.
Like this is the first track on the album where there's like a little breakdown,
Yeah.
and that's cool because not only like in the punk realm, it gives everyone a chance to find their shoes and relax and chill, and then get back into it. But like you said, like these are guys. This is the first breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the first hardcore breakdown.
Yeah, it's true. And what's cool is like they didn't do on this record. They did not every breakdown was the same. Like they didn't just try to keep doing the same thing over and over again because it worked. Like there was a lot of cool building up. There was cool little drops back into the main parts of the song. Cool drops into like solos. Like every breakdown was different from the other on this record, which I mean that's fucking cool, man. They could have just relied on one thing and made that their thing, but they didn't.
That's a breakdown. That's what most bands do with breakdowns.
Yeah. Same thing over and over again. That's what we always see. But
Breakdowns are so fun, aren't they?
dude, I fucking love breakdowns. My heart beats in breakdowns. Come on.
My heart beats in breakdowns.
But then also like also with HR and his vocal styles, he's all over the place. You know, he goes from the screaming, fast, aggressive stuff. He does like in the breakdown in this song, he does like this Devo thing. Reminds me a lot of Mark Mothersbaugh. And like he does all kinds of the reggae stuff, like the Bob Marley-esque kind of reggae stuff. He has quite a fucking range, which is cool too. Even though he seems like such a god, dude. Watching interviews and watching stuff with him, he just seems so insufferable. Like he just, oh my god.
Like now, today,
even back then, like watching shit from back then, but certainly like in the last 20 years or so, watching interviews and stuff. I mean, I get he has like schizoaffective disorder and all that kind of stuff, but damn, dude, I could see why a lot of times this band were, you know, they wanted to kill each other.
Even in that doc, because I skimmed that doc. I probably watched about 30, 40 minutes of the doc, but I just kind of like jumped around. But even that doc that was, you know, years and years ago, he's very like yes.
Yeah. It's very kind of like
almost like condescending, right? Like kind of like a little bitchy.
But that's like I think that's his disorder. That's
just the way he's projecting.
Yeah, because like I've met a lot of people like that, and that's how they act. They're like this carefree kind of like overly optimistic kind of thing, but it comes off as like
that's what it is. Overly optimistic.
Yeah, but it seems
like life hasn't killed
fake.
them yet.
Yeah,
but like clearly life has killed these guys constantly. But then like in that doc too, like watching him interact with the crowd. Oh, and then there was a Rollins fucking interview that they did on the doc, where Rollins had said that the two greatest frontmen that he's ever seen live was Iggy Pop and HR. He's like the two people that I've wanted to be when we did Black Flag. The two people that I emulated myself to be was Iggy Pop and HR. And watching like HR, like he said, by the time halfway through the first song, HR was already in the crowd. He was already passing the mic. He was already moshing. He was already hitting people. He was already fighting,
convulsing. Yeah, dude, watching videos of the early days of Bad Brains were insane. But then also it's like I can see why so many bands like we grew up listening to, like in our local scene in the early 2000s, like they took from fucking Bad Brains, like in the HR. You know, it's just god damn, dude, this shit just has like I said, it's transcended so many genres, subgenres, generations, which is so cool.
And that's crazy again, like going back to, because I'm just going to keep shitting on the Ramones and Sex Pistols as much as we possibly can.
I love that.
But you watch the Ramones perform on stage, and it's like, yeah, it's cool. Maybe they'll be a little crazy sometimes here or there, but like nothing like the Who, right? The Who was way crazier. Yeah. And the Ramones are kind of like almost like the Ventures up there.
They're like they're like fucking statues. They
have the little things they move side to side at certain parts. Like, oh, here comes the chorus. We got to go over here. Yeah, choreographed.
Very choreographed. Yeah.
And it's so disingenuous for punk music.
Same with Sex Pistols. Like, I get it. Sex Pistols were like the archetype of punk rock, which is so fucking stupid because
at least they were garbage though.
Yeah, they were garbage, but I mean, it's just like Sex Pistols were so clearly like man-made, like not man, but like so manufactured. They were, but Bad Brains were just so fucking genuine, and that's what makes them so much cooler and better than your Sex Pistols. And musically, they were significantly better than the Sex Pistols and Ramones. So
I think a word that gets used a lot too is raw. Like raw gets used a lot.
Yeah,
but I think like Bad Brains may be the most raw sounding hardcore punk that has ever been.
Only because it's so aggressive. And it
sounds like shit. Like they guys aren't even that good, but they're good playing together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's good stuff.
Band DC, it's my 1B.
All right. Yeah, that was my 2. My 1 is I think like one of the shortest songs on the record. It's Don't Need It. The second song, it's 1 minute and 7 seconds long. And this one, I was so impressed by this song because of how, once again, going back to how incredible they are as musicians, not on a technical level, but just as fucking clocks, like as metronomes. Like I could not believe how fucking tight this song is, and how I think this is arguably one of the fastest songs, if not the fastest song on the record, and how nobody was falling apart.
It's pretty fucking fast.
Nobody was lagging. The riffs were so clean. I mean, they were clean in how they were played, not in the sound, the tone, but just I was just everything was so incredibly clean sounding and perfect for such an aggressive and extremely fast song. Like
It's a
that's
cool
not a
song.
thrash song. You know what I mean?
I
So
like I like that
yeah.
whatever fucking sound that they're doing, was just bending strings and being obnoxious and noisy. But it does kind of like maybe wonder. I wonder, and like I don't know. I'm not a big bad brains min
Hmm.
over the years, and I haven't watched a lot of videos except for this week. But I wonder if this was sped up too, because that intro drum, that
Yeah, it does
like
sound kind
that's
of like
fucking
machine
fast,
gun. Yeah,
dude.
it's kind of machine gunny.
That's like I don't know. That's like 808 kind of shit. It's like super fucking fast and processed. But maybe it is. I
Eh,
don't know.
who knows? I mean, people know, but I
Nobody knows.
God,
Nobody knows.
because I mean, the way he plays those riffs, they're not well, are they? Is he bending it those power chords, or is he just
I
like
don't know.
moving
I
it
don't.
like? Then it sounds like he's just like going from like like just
Like
one fret to the like just like jacking off the guitar or something like that.
yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
either
sound like he's
that,
bending
it's
it.
a hammer, or he's like or bending. I don't know what it is, but it sounds cool. I like it, and it matches the song because it's very annoying. Like on its own, like like it's whiny and crybaby sounding,
Yeah,
but it matches. It matches the punk aesthetic. And again, like what is hardcore punk in the 1980, 1979? I don't know. That's what
yeah.
this is.
And also, I mean, we talk about like how music in the '60s and '70s, especially the '70s, how quickly bands were putting out music. I mean, CCR, they put out fucking 10 records in 7 years or some shit like that. It's such a small, it's just a 19, what, 70, 77 was, yeah, 77 was when the big three came out, Sex Pistols, Ramones, Clash, and what happened between 77 and 1982, like the progression in those 5 years. I think 5 years from right now was to 2019. How far has music progressed in the last, since 2019? Like, think about that. Like, how many bands are putting out multiple records? I mean, besides like King Gizzard and shit like that, how many bands are putting out multiple records a year? And how many bands are actually progressing music in any genre? There's since 2019,
Yeah,
nobody's
good or bad,
progressing.
right? Like
Yes,
we haven't heard drastically different musical genres in the past 10 years.
yeah,
And that's what's cool. That's what's cool about this is again just inventing punk in real time, and that's goddamn, that's cool.
it's killer. It's killer, dude.
All killer, no filler, baby. Yeah, so attitude's cool. Or no, don't need it.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Got fucking attitude. Fuck, I love Misfits so much. I love that song. That song is so snotty.
So stupid. The way he
It really
sings is
is.
so dumb.
Got
Attitude.
attitude.
Like he's like a teenage girl, dude. Like chill. Daddy chill.
Daddy chill.
Daddy chill.
All right. So what's your 2B? We'll get into a couple more songs. So I mean, what other songs do you want to talk about here?
Well, I mean, we haven't touched the reggae stuff. Mine 2B's attitude.
Attitude. 6B for me.
Okay, that's good. I like it because you hear him do his oh yeah, like that sound that he does a lot. Can I get a oh yeah?
Yeah. Why are you doing that? It's like one of the dumb internet things to come out.
Oh, it's so funny.
But he really
like,
does do that too, and it's.
But if you were walking down the street and someone said, "Can I get a oh yeah?" Would you do the oh yeah?
Of course, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, good. Of course,
Gotta do it.
have to do it. But yeah, he does it a lot though. He does it all over this record. It's not just like the yeah part. It's like
Yeah.
or like this weird. He does weird things
Like the Power Ranger, like yeah. Whenever they jump through the air or something like that. Yeah.
I saw Instagram also showed me this
Wow.
that the Power Ranger just use stock footage of like a Japanese show that Saban
I forgot
bought.
the name of the show, but yeah, from like 3 or 4 years prior.
Yeah, but they didn't rip it off. Like Saban bought the rights to that show and then used stock footage. And color me surprised because I never knew that.
Yeah.
Never knew. And it makes
Come on.
sense. But like little kid me had no idea.
But even
and
as an adult, you never knew that?
When the fuck do you watch Power Rangers as an adult?
I mean, it was just like something we always kind of knew, that it was just like,
I didn't know.
it wasn't the same, like, because you never, I can't even explain it. Like half of every episode wasn't even like modern footage. It wasn't of the actual white Power Rangers that we know. It was half of every episode was like from the Japanese show.
Jesus. Yeah, but I always had like a shitty TV, so I just thought it was my TV.
Well, so
That
did
was like
I.
shitty.
I had a black and white TV for a while when I was a kid.
I just
We're
thought it was like,
poor.
that's just like shitty TV. That's just I don't know. And then I guess
You never used to read like the like TV guide and like and shit when you were a kid. You never read any of that stuff. Come on, guy. You never read Nintendo Power. You never read any like video game magazine. Never read like any sort of like movie magazine. Come on. Okay. All right. I used to read TV Guide all the time. Love TV Guide.
you should have just stopped. Like when he said, "Did you ever read?" And then you should have
That's
stopped.
true. No, that's true. I should have known better.
You should have
I
just
should
been
have
done.
known better.
I've read more magazines now that magazines are dead than I ever have in my life. I just subscribed
God,
to a
you
new
were
magazine.
I know you did. A bootleg Nintendo Power. It's not even like the real Nintendo Power. It's a bootleg Nintendo Power.
Because I don't know Nintendo Power no more. I had
Exactly.
Game Informer for a while. But anyway, I've also saw that in the Power Rangers that the Yellow Ranger in the Japanese version was a guy.
I didn't know
And
that.
in the American version, it's a girl.
Trini.
Yeah, so that's why when you watch the Japanese thing, the Pink Ranger, who was a girl in the Japanese one, the Pink Ranger has a little skirt. The Yellow Ranger does not have a little skirt.
Oh, no shit. Okay. That's a fun fact.
Crazy?
Yeah, I didn't know that part of it. That's good.
That's just more useless information
Yeah.
for your everyday life.
Lori Beth Denberg.
But anyway, let's get back to Bad Brains, dude. So we did Attitude. I like that song. We talked about
we
it.
actually
We got to
didn't
talk
about it at all.
We didn't talk about it at all?
No, I don't think so. No, you just said that you wanted to talk about it and then you went on to the Power Ranger tangent.
Okay. I thought we did. That's all right.
We didn't.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. Yeah. That was a big thing.
That's what led into the Power Ranger tangent. So maybe I guess we did talk about it.
Well, oh, because you said the thing.
Yeah.
See, we did.
God.
We got to talk about the reggae stuff.
Well,
Jaw
actually,
calling.
So with Attitude, this is where the PMA. I think this is the first song that mentioned PMA, positive mental attitude. He brings that
of positive thinking. Anthony Robbins.
Oh God, dude. And then so I guess like HR was really inspired by a book called Think and Grow Rich. His dad made him read it when he was like 17 or something like that. And I've read that book too. And my God, dude, it is just inspirational. Just every inspirational common thing you've ever heard or read. That's what this book is. There's nothing that unique about it. But I guess when you're 17, it's like mind blowing and it changes perspective on life and this and that. And that's cool. But I hate those kind of like self-motivation, inspirational books. It's all the same fucking bullshit. Not bullshit. It's just all the same stuff. Because some of it can be very helpful to people, but it's just like, damn, dude, it's all the same. And Think or Grow Rich is just that. Let's better myself so I can make more fucking money and so I could be happier. Well, yeah, easier said than done, motherfucker. Anyway, I just can't stand shit like that. It makes me so mad.
You don't like Anthony Robbins.
We all know Anthony Robbins is, oh God, he's so annoying. Dude, I heard him on Theo Von's podcast like a year ago. And
isn't he canceled? He was like accused of like sexually harassing people in like 2020.
I don't remember that. But I know he was on it and I got like 20 minutes into it and I'm like, dude, you just can't turn off. Like these people can't turn off.
Do you like Theo Von?
I like when he interviews certain guests and I thought like, dude, this is Anthony Robbins. Like he's got to fuck with Anthony Robbins. Like there's some like stupid shit in there, but I just got 20 minutes in and once again, Anthony Robbins just does not turn off. Like he's just one of those people that it's just so annoying. I hate it.
Yeah. Just very like you can do this. If you believe in yourself, you can do this.
God, they're all the same. All these what are they? Fuck, there's a new term that people have been throwing.
Con man. He's a con man.
No, but they call him like inspo bros or something like that over the last few.
Inspo bros.
Or not, maybe it's not inspo bro, but it's something bros. But yeah, it's people like that. Financial bros or something like that. Yeah. But anyway.
The power of positive thinking, like fucking really, dude. Like, come on, my guy.
Can you hit the nail like more on the head than that? Stupid. Just
Theo Von's funny though. I like Theo Von.
I do
like
too.
Like Kevin Hart in like really, really small bursts. Like
in
skits.
Clips. Yeah, like clips. Like yes, I like seeing clips. Like when a clip will pop up on my TikTok or my reels or whatever, and Steel Vine. Yeah, that shit's generally pretty fucking funny. But yeah, anyway.
That's how I like my Kevin Hart too.
I can't stand Kevin Hart. I just can't stand
Not even
Kevin Hart.
clips.
Not even clips. I
You
can't
see
even
that new
clips.
commercial with Kevin Hart and LeBron? He's making
No.
fun of LeBron. Oh, so funny.
No. Even like when that roast with that Tom Brady roast.
You're so far off the deep end with hating Kevin Hart that
The only
you'll
thing,
never come back.
The only thing I liked about that Tom Brady roast with Kevin Hart was when he kept saying "fuck you, Tom" like out of nowhere. Like that was the only funny.
Gotta remind him, keep him humble. Keep him humble.
He was also funny in Scary Movie 3. Kevin Hart was. He was funny in Scary Movie 3. I'm trying to give compliments here.
God,
he was one of the hype men. Remember that movie? Remember Scary Movie 3? That was a good one.
Did you not? So there's a dude. Kevin Hart on Instagram is fucking funny.
No, he's not
one
funny.
Where he shows up. Yes,
funny.
he is. He's
so
not
funny.
You just don't know what funny is because
Dude.
you live your entire life not being funny and having any fun whatsoever. But there's one where he shows up to the Rock's house and he's dressed like the Rock in the 90s, but like early 90s Rock, where the Rock is just ugly, like turtleneck and fucking big old chain, long sleeve shirt. And the Rock's like, "What the fuck is this?" He's like, "What? I'm dressed as your dumbass." And
but see, that's like a skit. Like it's not genuine. It's too forced.
That's what he's funny as.
It's
skits.
Too
he's
forced.
funny as
it's
skits.
Too forced.
How is it forced?
It's too forced. I don't know.
You hate Kevin Hart so much that even if he actually did come out with something that is objectively funny, you won't like it.
I like it. I said two things to you that I thought were funny that he did. That I thought were objectively funny.
I don't remember what they were because they're probably stupid.
Also, he had some good parts in Jumanji. Have you seen Jumanji?
Oh my god. I'm literally gonna fucking exit this fucking group chat right now in like 5 seconds.
You don't like Jumanji? The remake?
No.
Really? I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. It was fun. Get the fuck out of here. You're so stupid.
Do you know what fun is? Oh my god. We gotta get back to fucking Bad Brains here before this goes off the rails and you get chastised for the next hour and a half.
Clearly we don't have our notes are very, very thin. That's why we spent like half this episode not talking about Bad Brains.
I actually wrote a lot of notes on how segregation is alive and well in America and how redlining is still in effect and we're still feeling the effects of it today. That's where most of my notes have come from because I just didn't have a lot for Bad Brains.
But I mean, if we're going to talk about like the whole race aspect with the band and everything, like obviously they were very, discriminated against, but I feel like they were a band that didn't really take it too much to heart. PMA, positive mental attitude or whatever it is. It's just like, they're like pretty much like, well, fuck you. We're still going to do whatever the hell we want, regardless of what you have to say about us or our music or whatever it is, our political views, whatever. So I do like that. Like, it doesn't seem like there was a ton of backlash, racially against them. So
I think the reason there wasn't like a ton of pushback because they're all black is because they're not making a lot of money. Like there's no fucking way. There's no way in hell the Ramones could have been black and achieved that amount of success and status.
You're probably right. Yeah.
No fucking way.
Because
really, DC.
Really,
DC is one of the worst places in America.
It's true. Yeah.
Like for the past 100 years.
Isn't it funny? Like two of the worst cities in America are both in Maryland. So
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Fuck the East Coast.
East Coast, fuck you,
Fuck you.
Fuck, what was I gonna say? I don't remember now. Fuck, I was gonna say something.
I'm talking about we just vamp. Talk about whatever
I guess
you want,
we're just vamping. We're just vamping. So let's talk about so many bands have been inspired by Bad Brains, and what they did. And something you brought up to me today was the song not off this record, but Eye Against Eye. What song is it? Hired Gun. Hired Gun. The intro to that song is identical to the newer Turnstile song Underwater Boy. And I know this song is not on this Bad Brains record, but it's still something worth noting because they're both from Maryland. And yeah, so the intro is identical and how nobody has made that connection. Like I looked it up typed it into Google and Reddit. There was only one thread on Reddit that talked about that song sounding like Bad Brains,
Really?
but it's identical. Like I
Yeah,
don't understand how
it's fucking the
nobody's
same
talking about it,
exact thing.
especially how popular Bad Brains is and how Turnstile has just blown up in the last 5 years. Nobody talks about that. How literally they took from that song "Hired Gun" and put it into "Underwater Boy." It's identical. It's fucking identical. It's crazy.
I think that's rad, because if Turnstile got the kind of recognition that they deserve, because I think they get a lot of recognition, but I think it's just publicity, kind of like bullshit PR that they don't give a fuck about. They're punkers. Maybe
Yeah.
not anymore. They kind of sell us now, but like they're punkers at heart, and they want like punk recognition. And so if someone just stuck a mic in their face and said, "Hey, dude, a lot of your songs sound like Bad Brain songs," I think they would be like, "Yeah, actually, you're right. Thanks for listening to our music. And here is what we took from it. Here's what we got." Because like No Effects does that shit all the time. Me First and the Gimme Gimme's made a fucking career out of it. Not just like covering songs, but the opening to the cover songs are always taken from other well-known punk songs. So like what punkers do. Punkers like to do that. They like to show, wear their inspiration on their sleeves. It's fun.
Yeah.
And I like that Turnstile does that.
It's cool, man.
Actually, if nothing else happened this week, this got me more into Turnstile than ever this week.
I actually listened to that record today. After I listened to that intro, I started Glow On Over and I listened to Turnstile.
That record is so fucking
that record
good.
is so good. It's remarkable how good that is. That's one of the best records, like top 5 records in the last 10 years, like easily.
Yeah.
Glow On. I mean, that and the first Turnstile record. I mean, they're so incredible. But anyway.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
0-2. Fuck, what was? Oh, let's get into the reggae stuff. So late 70s. I think it was 78, maybe 79. They saw Bob Marley for the first time, and they were so inspired by his message and the culture and everything that they actually all 4 of them became Rastafari. So they started following those principles, and I don't know too much about Rastafari, so maybe speaking out of turn, but they started following that culture, not religion, whatever it is. I'm not sure. And even to this day, like all 4 of them, I think, are still very much in that culture. And that clearly on this record and future records, half the songs on some of their records are all reggae, which is cool. But it really started on this one, obviously.
Yeah. And again, that's what separates these guys from everybody else, is so early on in their career. Not only did they take a chance being a hardcore punk band like this, but they also took a chance with the reggae stuff. And that's crazy, because 80s reggae is very like Heptones kind of shit, very like vocal driven, kind of weak, kind of
agreed,
like that, whatever. But like to take 2 chances on your sound, the punk sound and the reggae sound, that's ballsy.
It is.
And I think ultimately what makes Bad Brains stand out above everybody, even more than Black Flag, is they don't give a shit. Even if Bad Brains had 0 like commercial success, they wouldn't care. Even if they made millions like the Ramones did, they wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. Where I think like Henry Rollins wanted the success, even though he pretends he didn't want the success. Henry Rollins wants the success. He wants people to hear his message. Bad Brains never cared. They don't give a shit.
Well, because they're also not outspoken. Like, you don't have HR going out the same way Rollins does, and like, purposely going out and going into interviews, like not harassing people, but just kind of like being a little bit aggressive, and just trying to get his point across. A very kind of machismo kind of thing. And that's really what Bad Brains weren't about. They were kind of like the antithesis to the whole machismo thing that was happening in punk rock or hardcore, especially.
That's crazy too, because like you think like Black Flag, and you think some even like Danzig and Misfits to an extent, but like I don't know, like the aggressive, roided out punkers, right? That wasn't Bad Brains at all.
No, not at all.
Like skinny dudes, like just I don't know.
I know,
skinny dorky. They're like dorky dudes.
They were, yeah.
They like the outfits they wore were just fucking like they shopped at Mervyn's and shit, like just ugly ass outfits. Whereas
there was also a point too where they, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, they were wearing suits, but they would spray paint their suits, so like they looked like at first they look very proper, but then they blow into this music and just fucking destroy everything, like musically just destroy everything. I mean,
Yeah.
they were truly at this time truly a unique band. Nobody sounded like Bad Brains.
No, nobody did. I don't think anybody has. Like, no one's really done like the career they've done. Like, no one's done this sound. No one has done that aggressive of hardcore punk music and incorporated reggae the
Yeah.
way Bad Brains has.
But also nobody's like done this kind of just something this aggressive so purely. Like because everything at this point because I think Bad Brains did it so well up front. Everything after this, like hardcore punk after this, is all derivative of Bad Brains. I don't feel like anybody. You could make the argument like Gorilla Biscuits were doing it like a couple years later, but it still doesn't hold that same aggression that this first Bad Brains records does. Bad Brains record does. But I don't know. What are you gonna do?
I don't know, Jerry.
Should we wrap it up? I feel like man, we're really, really.
Let's wrap it up. We're vamping.
Well, one last thing, the album cover, and then we'll finish it. We'll finish it because the album cover is really cool. I love the colors.
It's iconic.
It is iconic. The colors.
It's really dumb. It's really basic. It's really bare bones. There's not much to it.
But that's what's cool, man.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't know. I've always loved it.
You get a basic idea like that, and you run with it, and it's fucking amazing.
Well, because it perfectly
that's
exemplifies their sound on this record. It has, anti-establishment, anti-government with the big lightning bolt hitting the Capitol building
Rock
in DC.
Status quo, baby.
And then it has the colors of Jamaica, the yellow, green, and red. So you get the reggae, and then you get the anti-establishment punk rock. It just makes sense. It makes fucking sense for this record. It's a great album cover to represent this record.
And it stands out. You flipping through records, right? This is like 1980 fucking whatever it is. You flipping through records, and then boom, like what the hell is this?
Yeah, yep.
Smart.
Or cassettes at this time, because remember,
That's true.
Didn't get pressed to 89.
That's true. Do you flip through cassettes? I don't know. Cassettes are dumb.
No, you don't. You just kind of look at it because the labels are so big, so you don't have to flip them. You just read the labels as you go down. Anyway,
0-2.
Let's give our final thoughts on this Bad Brains record, and then we'll rate it based off of our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album but give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. Go.
Yeah, this is punk music being created in real time. This is something that's truly, truly unique, very different than what everybody argues. Like, who's the best punk band? Is it fucking the Ramones? Is it Sex Pistols? Is it the Stooges? Is it like New York Dolls? And it's like, yeah, they're all kind of like propping punk. Velvet Underground too, it's thrown in there. They're all propping punk up in different ways. But then, like, Bad Brains, like, oh, that's cool. Check this out. And like they did it, and everyone's kind of like, I don't know. We're not ready for that. Give us like 10 years, we'll come back to this. Because Black Flag was never this fucking aggressive. They were never this aggressive. Mm-hmm. And so we had not heard a band be this successful, quote unquote, because they're not that successful, but they are kind of successful. We had not heard a band be this successful at hardcore punk for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. That's wild. And they just didn't give a shit. And that was cool. And I like that. And I like how pure this is. That's what it is. Pure punk. And at the essence of what punk should be, it should be pure. It should be, I think, like, inherently punk should be like anti-establishment. It should be something that is going to annoy somebody. If it's not annoying anybody, then it's not punk. Don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. So like you have to annoy somebody with it. And like, Bad Brains annoyed the city, annoyed the capital.
I know.
Not just a city, dude. Like,
the
you annoyed
the United States.
You annoyed America's city. Like, fuck, man, you pissed off like you. George Washington got shook in his grave. That's how much you pissed everybody off. That's crazy. That's cool.
So stupid.
It's just cool. It's just cool, man.
It's cool, dude.
Like leather jackets, tight pants, Ramones. Never thought they were cool. Even as a kid, I never saw the Ramones. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, I never felt that way. Same
never thought they were cool.
Never thought they looked cool. I was like, oh, it's kind of goofy. It's kind of stupid. I'd rather look like
shtick.
Yeah, I'd rather look like the 90s skate punk. I mean, we also grew up in a very different era. But I mean, it's like, I'd rather look like all the 90s punkers, like your Guttermouths, your Vandals, your Bouncing Souls, Blink. I wanted to wear that kind of skater shit. I don't want to wear tight pants and leather jackets and shit. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's just not cool. But Bad Brains always looked cool.
Yeah.
They look cool, and they're like, yeah. Also in that documentary we kind of watched, they're always having fun. They're always laughing. Everybody was laughing when HR was jumping in the crowd, when he's grinding on stage, when he's gyrating on the floor. They're always laughing at him. They're always goofing around.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with Bad Brains too. It's like it seemed like everybody had a good time at their shows. I feel like there weren't. I mean, outside of HR attacking people and being a dick himself, but I feel like the crowds weren't.
Punk.
I feel like the crowds weren't like the Black Flag crowd, like the LA crowds in the '80s that you hear so much about. I feel like they were a little bit more tame because it was like, let's just fuck up the really shitty people in the crowd, but not like fuck with everybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's wild too, though. Like, why is it okay for Henry Rollins to be like inherently antagonistic in the way he presents his entire fucking life? Even his little stupid column that he wrote for LA Times for years and years and years, he was always just like inherently antagonistic. The way he said things, the way he talked down to people, but pretended he's a man of the people. The way he always said, "I always write coach. I never write first class." Like, man, fuck you. Just shut up. Good Lord.
I know. Who are you trying to impress, man?
I write coach. I don't write first class. I don't tell people about it.
Trying to impress like the 15-year-old who's just getting into punk music? Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I always
really
fuck you. Shut up. My God. He's inherently antagonistic. Like, Bad Brains was never that. Yeah. And yeah, like HR was kind of a dick and did dickish things, but
it wasn't kind of, he was a dick.
But there was no more of a dick than like, I don't know, fucking what's the buff dude from the Misfits that don't
Danzig?
Fuck people up?
Oh, not well.
The guy with like the
Doyle, not Doyle. Yeah. Doyle was like always like.
Is really he an
nice.
Asshole too?
No, he's like really nice.
Oh.
Danzig's the asshole. Danzig's the asshole in the band.
He's a musical mastermind asshole. Anyway, I'm gonna give this 2 ratings because I'm gonna cheat because I feel bad if I give this my first rating. I'm gonna give my musical rating and my cultural influence rating.
Okay, got it.
Musical rating, honestly, it's like a 2.25.
Okay.
A lot of these songs sound fucking identical, and again, if you took out the reggae, this would be a very, very one-dimensional, kind of like forgettable record. You throw the reggae in there, and it's kind of like, oh shit, that's the punk ethos. You do whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't have to be reggae. You could have put a dance song in there, a pop song. You could have put a country song, right? Doesn't have to be reggae. You throw a country song in here, it would have done the same exact thing aesthetically. The culture influence of this, I think, is through the roof. It's beyond a 3 out of 3. I don't think there's ever been a hardcore punk record that is like this. And there never will be, because this is something that can only have happened at that place at that time. Now it's too easy. Now there are no hurdles to go through. These guys ate shit to get this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Okay. I have 2 separate ratings, one a personal rating and one for the significance within music and punk especially.
Because it feels gross giving this not a 3. But like,
I agree. Yeah. Because you have to give it a 3 objectively, because it's inspired thousands and thousands of bands since 1982. Saw that lime, dude.
You see that pulp?
I did see all that pulp come out of your beer there.
You see me get it?
I did, yeah. Like
I take no prisoners.
Like, it was like the Rancor when he's eating the Gamorrean guard. Yeah, even the last part when he eats the hand like pops into his mouth. Yeah, that's what it was like. Anyway, yeah. Objectively, this is a 3 out of 3. I mean, this just has inspired so many bands and so many subgenres within punk. Subjectively, though, I'm going to give this also a 2.25 because it's a lot of fun to listen to. I don't go back to it that often, but when I do, it's just like, damn, dude, this is like really good, fun hardcore. And then it doesn't make me want to listen to more Bad Brains, but it makes me want to go listen to Black Flag or Dead Kennedys or Gorilla Biscuits or something. It's just like when you're in that kind of hardcore mood, it's just you're jumping around, and that's how I am with like 80s hardcore. I don't stick to just Black Flag. I don't stick to just Dead Kennedys. I always jump around. It's just more fun that way, because otherwise it's just going to be all the same fucking shit.
But you could listen to Black Flag after Black Flag after Black Flag after Black Flag.
Only because Damage is like the only true hardcore record. Everything after Damage is like jazz infused, funk infused. It's like all because Greg Ginn was out of his fucking mind. So that's why you can jump from Black Flag to Black Flag. But if I'm like in a hardcore mood, I'm gonna listen to Damaged. I'm gonna listen to Dead Kennedys, Gorilla Biscuits, whatever it may be. But yeah,
how about this? Before you even get into your thing, I don't care anymore.
I already did that. I already finished, but that's fine.
I don't know what it was.
I gave the same rating as you.
Best hardcore punk record of all time, right?
Yeah.
Are we like objectively? Do we think
objectively? I don't think it's this. No, hardcore punk record. No, that's not this. I think it's Walk Among Us from Misfits.
Oh, that's stupid.
No,
no.
I think,
No.
I do.
Hardcore punk record.
That's a hardcore punk record. Walk Among Us.
That's not a hardcore punk
I know
record.
Danzig is a crooner.
There's nothing hard about that record.
Oh my god.
It's got distortion. And it's kind of heavy, but no, dude. No.
Just because he's not screaming the whole time like fucking HR does most on most of this record.
I would have accepted Gorilla Biscuits. I would have.
Or okay, what kind of hardcore are we talking about? 80s hardcore? Are we talking about we're throwing 90s stuff in there? What are we throwing? I mean, 80s hardcore. I still think Walk Among Us is the one of the greatest hardcore records ever made because it is hardcore.
Hardcore like has to be like a time and place thing, right? Like if somebody
Which
comes
out, Walk Among Us was something,
but it doesn't hit the way this hit.
It just hits differently, of course, but it's still a hardcore record.
Anything can be a hardcore record. Who cares if it's a hardcore? A hardcore record to be like in the top tier, in the S tier, in like the greatest, in the GOAT tier, it has to. It's got to fuck people up.
Well, yeah,
it's got to fuck people up in a way that makes people feel fucking scared, and that harkens back to like the punk ethos. Is what are we doing here? If the hardcore punk record is not making people rethink their values, like their innards, then it's good, but it's not great. I think like objectively, this is the best hardcore punk record of all time.
Only because
this made people rethink everything.
I disagree. I think Misfits had more. Misfits had more of an impact.
I think subjectively, I'm not talking about impact.
You just said impact.
That's not even that's not even fair either because Misfits had impact on like musicianship, on like everything. Melodies and things like that.
On punk rock in general, it had a huge impact on punk rock because it showed that
Misfits
you could
Misfits never sounded like this though. Misfits were never this. Nobody was ever this.
They weren't, once again, they weren't this heavy, but it's still a hardcore record. Like you can't just say that at that point. At that point, you're just saying the only hardcore record ever is Bad Brains and maybe Gorilla Biscuits or Scream or other like hardcore bands that came out after Bad Brains. No, that's fucking bullshit. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. The fuck out
everything
you're
else,
stupid.
everything else that is not Bad Brains is Bad Brains is just punk rock.
You're just dumb. Walk Among Us. Okay, let's take Bad Brains out of this equation. What would you say is the best hardcore record? Like let's just say late 70s, 80s. Because you could throw in like Germs and shit like that. Because Germs were pretty damn aggressive too, and they were 79, I believe. I hate that Germs record. I can't stand the Germs.
That's dumb.
But they're pretty fucking heavy and pretty hardcore. You could throw that up there, kind of with Bad Brains.
I mean, there's again, if you're doing like regional things,
we're not talking. I'm not saying regional. I'm just saying
I know, but there's a lot of like hardcore bands that came out of like Boston that like were before Bad Brains, but just never got like that notoriety. And like it's just you gotta give them credit for being a bunch of black dudes.
I get it
in a predominantly white fucking genre.
And I get that hurdle. I get it. And they fucking destroyed a lot. And not didn't destroy, but they're not just like we accept them because they're black in a white genre. No, not at all.
No, dude, they did better than everybody else. Despite. It
would be in spite.
Despite. In spite.
I think it's in spite.
I don't know the difference. Like effect and effect with the A and the E. I don't know the difference there.
Anyway.
In spite of that fact. I think it is in spite.
It's in spite, yeah. Because
fucking English major over here.
English major over here? Mr. Never went to college over here.
That was more Australian.
Yeah, it was very Australian. But anyway, either way, I think Misfits, out of all the hardcore bands, Misfits is still, Walk Among Us is still the best hardcore record.
No, that's false. So I'm just going to go and say that.
All right, anyway, we're done here. we're fucking done. We're out. We're with
Yeah,
this,
we're
we're
done.
with
Let's
his.
go. There we go. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Good
So
night.
thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars to all your friends.
We all want 38.
No idea what we're doing next.
We all
Maybe we're
want
gonna do
38.
Misfits. I don't.
We should probably do Misfits.
We did Static Age last time. Maybe we could do Walk Among Us next time. I don't know. We have no idea what we're doing next, which is weird because we usually have like 3-4 weeks planned ahead, but we have nothing now. So we will reconvene.
Hip hop season tapped us out. We were pretty.
They really tapped me out. That really tapped me out.
It's a little tiring. It's a
I
lot of
enjoyed
stuff
it
to listen
though.
to.
I enjoyed hip hop season a lot, but yeah, I was
fun.
definitely tapped out.
It's a lot.
So we will reconvene after Jeff returns home from California next week, and go from there. So thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, tell all your friends. That's it. That's all.
It's your